Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to A Beanbag. The time has finally come. I am pleased to announce that the time is finally now to share with you a story that I've been dying to share for years. Does it feel correct to share this story right now in this context? Maybe not the full story, but I can share part of it. The full story will have to wait, and it's actually just not all details are mine to share, that kind of thing. But most of it is. The skinny of it is that this is like how I got my name. I began as Finn Panther long time ago. Back in high school, I was writing a novel for NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. It was about shapeshifters, and there was I called them heat suckers, but there was magical vampires who were dominant. They were just magic creatures were being exterminated, and shapeshifters got around it by only transforming halfway, so they didn't show up on the magic radar, but they still had their powers. And I was like, how would I do a bird? Because their wings are feathers, but they have hands. So are they claws? How do you depict a half bird? So I looked up some half bird images, and I found a lot of really good half bird images. So then I find the furry fandom. I finish part of my book. I don't remember how that way. That was such a silly little thing. But from there I find the furry fandom. I start feeling out spiritually on the inside what animal makes sense to me, and big cat, obviously. And then I've always been a little special, unique sunflower boy, and I wanted to be I felt kind of distinct, and I've never really quite fit in. And the idea in the canon of Finn Panther is he is a panther, but he comes from a family of leopards, and he is the only panther. And um, he felt kind of like redheaded stepchild about it, and it was always treated like he was a little bit different, and that reflected a lot of how I felt internally also. And in the canon of Finn Panther, he has one estranged panther uncle also who he doesn't really see. And there's a universe where he probably goes to live with his uncle for a little bit back when I wrote more fiction for my OC and all that. Like, that was a lot of fun way back in the day. I used to do that a lot. And I distinctly remember I did not want to be a panther because I was like, man, everyone's going to want to be panthers. Like, everyone's going to choose a cat. Are you kidding me? And actually, everyone is foxes and wolves, and there's not very many cats at all. And then, let alone panthers, we're just not super common. I don't actually know that I've met a panther in the wild. I'm sure I have once or twice, but not many. And just cats in general, you don't see very many, so I'm very happy with my choice. Although I don't really think that it's a choice, it was just something that came to me. It was part of my spirit all along, is I was just very much always a little panther boy on the inside. 10 out of 10. Separately, this is fun. This one's really fun. I read a book in elementary school. I'm pretty sure maybe junior high or something. And I don't remember the book. I can't for the life of me find this book. There were two characters. I think they went to a boarding school. One of them was named Phineas. The other one, I think his name started with a T. I don't know. The guy whose name I think started with a T, I think might have been bigger. And I don't know if they were like a fat character. I think they were just Phineas was smaller, like scrawnier, and then there was this other character who was not, and they were like friends, and they were, I think, at a boarding school, maybe. And that's all that I remember. I cannot find this book. I think it was Phineas with a Phinneas, but I don't even remember that for sure either. But I loved the name Phineas, and I really liked that character. And I tried going by Phineas Panther. Like, I felt it, and it didn't feel right. I couldn't pull it off. It was no good. Because I didn't feel like a Phineas. And no joke, that was actually a that was like a confidence thing, because I was extremely like lack of confidence kid, and I felt when I was making my persona, oh, I could never be Phineas. Like, I'm not cool enough for Phineas as the name. I can't pull off Phineas. I'll just be Finn. I'll be Finn. That'll be okay. And that's why I became Finn Panther. Is when I was first a furry, I did not think I could live up to Phineas as a name. It was too cool, and I was not cool enough to be Phineas. So I became Finn Panther. That persisted for like a decade, and I wrote several novels for like NaNoWriMo. None of those got published, but towards the end of my divorce, I did get a novel published. I haven't actually shared that really, and in my videos, it's this. It's an absolute piece of trash. I thought I was plugged in. Headset, come on. I am having such a good time right now. But anyway, I did write that book. Fun fact, if anyone has Amazon Prime, it is available on the Amazon store. I think everyone gets free tokens because the whole web novel format is. I don't actually feel like talking about that. But the format of it is you would pay coins for every chapter. That's the web novel format, and that is a web novel um, about. It turned into a metaphor for the broken relationship that I have with my inner child. It has transgender themes, and it's about um, a shifter. It's not werewolves. They're it's a shifter genre romance, but it's guy turns into a wolf like shifter. And a common theme in shifter romance books is the wolf within, the wolf spirit comes out, and then that's kind of like what's kind of what it's called. And so our main character AJ has a hard time. He is not as connected to his internal wolf as all the other shapeshifters are, and he's always been a little bit different. And it goes into that a little bit. And the first half is way different in tone than the other half, and the writing is different and probably better because the second half, I just. Anyway, point being is I have a book. It made me like $200, and I am a published author as Finn Panther. I've also been in a couple of convention books, including RMFC, Rocky Mountain Fur Con, which is effectively now Den Fur. 2013, I got the featured submission about a guy who magically cheats at blackjack, and the camera picks up his sleight of hand, but everyone else has like a perception filter or something like that, and that's not even explained. But it's just a little blackjack. It's about 2-7 offsuit, I think, because that's the worst poker hand you can possibly get. And so the guy plays a 2-7 and sweeps the table, and everyone's like, "Oh, excellent play, excellent play." And the guy in the camera room was like, "What the heck? That's a 2-7 offsuit." I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Anyway, I had always been Finn Panther, and I have art. This is the art piece. This is the only art that I have of Finn Panther, and I have a fursuit also. This is the head of of Finn Panther, and this is me. This is what Finn Panther is. The first version of him, like the VR. This was me, and this is where the story I think gets a little bit muddled, and I don't even know why. Because it's just part of how I got my name. And there's Finn Panther, which is I lacked security in myself, so I couldn't go by Phineas. I had to only be Finn, and I'm a Panther, so Finn Panther, and that was just me for like well over a decade. And I remember being super bored at work one time, probably like 26, 25, 28, 18-ish. I was at work at one point. Um, and wanting to get more into the furry fandom because you come in and out of these things, and I was trying to like find more of an identity within myself because I had lost myself in my relationship and just a lot of life going on. And I was getting more into the furry fandom. I was looking up furry podcasts, and I found how to be a furry explained by Finn the Panther, and that's what that is. I found that. So naturally, I reached out because I was like, "What? Another panther named Finn? That's so wild and crazy." And we talked a little bit, but it started eating me up on the inside a little bit because I've always had tremendous fear of missing out, and there's been a lot of compromised brain structure. And I projected so much of my internal challenges on a a podcaster who happened to share my name, and I brought so much weird baggage to the situation, man. And the one thing I will say about that whole situation is I had tuned in, I think it was possibly for a Ferality promo stream or something like that. I think I was going to see Whispers, maybe. I wanted to see an interview they were doing. I don't quite remember if that's the day it was or not. But there was once a time I had tuned into a live stream, I had commented, and someone said, "Oh my gosh, Finn, I love your videos." And I had not yet begun making videos yet. He thought I was the other Finn. And that broke my spirit. Because at that time, I was aspiring to begin making videos and VTubing, but I was getting my equipment together. I was learning how to try and be myself. Those early videos were extremely hard for me to make. The first one took me a whole month to record it, and then I could edit it in 10-minute segments and then panic the whole time. There was a ton of internal explorations. It was incredibly intense, and I was trying to find out me, and someone out there had my name and was already doing it. They did fursuit work, and I chose not to do fursuit work because the head, I'm a smile boy. Hello. And you can't smile in a fursuit. That's it. That crushed it. I never figured that out. And it's a whole genre. Lots of fursuit YouTubers, 10 out of 10. It's just not my style. This is what I prefer. But it absolutely wrecked me because I was just out of a arduous divorce, a 7-year relationship that the first two of it were kind of okay. And then I was dealing with a lot of personal tragedies outside of that. And that was right on the heels of starting to be okay with my sexuality. And then I have bipolar disorder, you're trying to figure out on top of that. Like, I'd always had a creative fire, and I had always been struggling for it. And someone with my name was doing what I wanted to do better and faster than I was able to do it. So much of that's on me. I brought that. I bring that. That's something I decided of someone else, which is super not okay. That is such gross behavior. But it broke me when I was trying to build a name for myself, and a published novel, being Finn Panther, and I wanted to make videos about myself, and I had so much little fun personal ambitions, and it had just become a crowded namespace. Like, someone else beat me to it. Someone was better than me who had my name. That ruined me. So the day that my divorce was finalized, later that same day I came home, and I felt a certain amount of elation that I could finally start being more myself. I recognized that the competition I felt in the namespace Finn Panther, I would never be able to just be me because I would always feel in the shadow of someone who was a better version of me. And either you could fight the mental state and be okay with someone else also being called a panther named Finn. But I was too young in trying to manage that particular emotion state where my art was concerned and my identity. And I would never be able to just focus on being me when I was also worried about someone else being better me. It was causing me so much pain. So the same day, my divorce got finalized, and I decided to drop Finn Panther, and I decided to give up everything because it was making me miserable. Being me, trying to make it happen, was causing me misery. So I stopped. It didn't last for long, though. It couldn't. I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to stop. And I think many ways my life would be so much better if I had given up a long time ago. I just don't know how to do that. Even a little bit. I do not know how to do that. I couldn't possibly. I've tried so many times. I just don't quit. And I was trying to come up with different names. For a while, I went by Skip Lyons, and I wrote a pretty fun series there. That was my really smutty kind of persona. But that didn't quite feel right, and that had different baggage too. And what name would be good for me? And it's like, well, I loved Finn so much. I felt like Finn Panther, and I don't want to be anything else. I still feel like a Panther. And then I loved Finn, and so then I'm not Finn, but I was once Finn, so the artist formerly called Finn, and I was like, well, Finn former, maybe, and then I thought of Phineas, and I was like, that's Finn, but it's not, so I could go by Finn for short, and then I have been. I haven't told people, oh, call me Finn, but I'm Phineas. Like, no, it just kind of happened. Like, some people, friends often call me Finn, and I came up with Phineas Former as just like, yeah, that's kind of a dorky name. But it was only after I spoke with my friend who was a YouTuber. Also, this is him. He does uh, a lot of video game work, but he puts himself into his animations a ton. He's most known for his Game and Watch series. But anyway, my friend who had more experience as a creator and branding, he has more eye for that sort of thing. He was like, Phineas Former is that actually has a ring to it. That's memorable. And so it is that even still, people are like, your name seems really familiar, because I guess my videos made the rounds briefly when I first started my channel, and there's just been people sometimes recognize the name and they don't know where, and it's like, oh, you probably saw when the YouTube algorithm tried recommending one video one time, and the name Phineas Former stuck out. And so thanks to my friend who was like, that's a great name, then I was like, oh, Phineas Former stays. Then he helped me come up with a dorky little logo, which is this little paw print with FF in it for Phineas Former. And I was ready to start this whole new chapter as Phineas Former. Then shortly after that point, or just before it, I'd have to check like when I received that Whispers CD. But around then I became yet another cat instead of a floof kitty, as you see now. And I became Phineas instead. And I've never told that story before. And I don't really even know why. I do know why, actually. It's because it's really close to me that someone had beaten me to being me. And previously, anytime I've tried telling the story, and I've tried, I think probably 3 times, it never sticks. It never sticks. Because I always bring so much strange ass energy to it. And I think I've always been maybe a little bit like, man, I miss Finn Panther, and I always have, because that was always me. And as it turns out, it kinda still is. Because you've got Phineas Former, of course. Many forms. I love that phrasing, even though it did come from formerly Finn, Phineas Former. But then you also have Phineas Ladder. And so, I did come after the Phineases, and it's all still just me, guys. Don't overthink this. I overthink it enough for all of us, I assure you. But also, not just Phineas Latter or whatever, but I also came before, because this was Finn Panther. I made this character as I was Finn Panther. This was the first thing I ever recolored or textured. My friend Dwaggy helped me touch up the hair and the cheek floofs a little bit, and I want to get the fur more properly done all of the way. But this was me. So much of my heart went into this. This was Finn Panther, and I began as Finn Panther 10 years ago. And as I realized that my journey learning how to be myself through VTubing had reached a natural conclusion, I don't have to learn that anymore, and I wanted to divorce myself from the art that I make. I need some, like, I wanted to just be able to be more me. And I was like, well, you have that, buddy. You started as that. And how wonderful to be able to come back in absolute fullness of heart. So this is Finn, still just Finn, but not a Phineas. Because I've got so many Phineases, and I have Phineas Former on the way. I have Phineas Formin on the way, and it's so stupid. It's all there might be Phineas Finance. Ah, no, why Phineas Finance? It's so stupid, but it's so stupid. But it just feels really cool when I was freshly ready to stop trying to be me and let's just do it. That this came back. and I'm so pleased with it. And Finn Panther is alive and well. I think. I'm not gonna go so far. Um, I think if there was like a at the end of like an instruction book for a video game back in the day, then there'd be like a roster of characters or whatever it is. I think this just be called like the narrator. I don't know. I don't have a name. I'm just me, baby. But I know I'm Finn, and I know that I'm a panther, even though I don't know if I look like a panther, but I am a panther. You might even call me Finn Panther because that's how I started. And thank you very much. I was the original Finn Panther. He's the other one, even if he's the one that's more popular and the one that I got mistaken for, and it crushed me. But now it's like, excuse me, no, look at my hair. What? And that's the story of how I got my name. That's the story of how I began my name, my first name, and then how I got my second name, and then how I got the next one. Maybe I will be Phineas Ladder. I don't know. Not Phineas. It can't be a Phineas. Finn Ladder. Latterly Finn. I don't know. All right, time to be done. Because you've had enough. You have had enough. You can't have any more story. You guys are always so greedy. You always want more story, and you always have to wait. And someday, I think you'll learn. You have to wait because there can't be. Also, my roommate, for crying out loud. I told him about this because he's been asking, and I used to go by Finn Panther. And he's like, "Oh, Finn the Panther," and I was like, "Nope, not Finn the Panther. Finn Panther. That's a different guy." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Even my roommate." No. I don't know. I'm getting worked up again about it, man. Whatever. It's fine. You've had enough. You've had enough. You guys are so greedy. So I'll talk to you guys later, though. So far, I'm loving this. And let me know if you're loving this or if you're a little bit like, eh. Because I'll do whatever I feel like doing. And this is just what it is right now while I'm cooking on more things. More things, rest assured. Phineas, as you know him, is not going anywhere. In fact, there's more than ever before, but you have to wait.